I have big plans for this soup and this bread. I'm gonna start with the bread. I'm getting ready to turn this mediocre loaf into 4-cheese roasted garlic pull-apart bread. Boy, oh boy, is it gonna be tasty. I'm gonna start by cutting the bread into a crisscross pattern, and I'll be careful not to cut it all the way through. Okay, the bread's cut. Now it's onto the cheese mixture, which is gonna get stuffed into the bread. I'm using 4 different kinds: grated mozzarella, I'm just eyeballing the amounts, and grated fontina, which I love. It's so creamy. And then good old Parmesan and some Romano. And then I like to give things a little extra flavor, so I'm gonna chop up some chives. You can just pretty much do whatever you want to do with the seasoning of this cheese mixture. You can add Italian seasoning. You could add sun-dried tomatoes. That would be delicious. Kind of do an Italian version. And for a little bit of spice, some crushed red pepper flakes. I'll add those to pretty much anything. And a little black pepper. The cheese has plenty of salt in it, so I'm not going to add any extra. Okay, the next thing I'm adding to the cheese mixture, roasted garlic. This is over-the-top decadent. I roasted this earlier. I just put 8 cloves of peeled garlic on foil, drizzled them with olive oil, sprinkled on salt, pepper, then wrapped up the whole thing in a parcel and roasted it at 375 for an hour. Okay, roasted garlic goes in. Look at the color. And it is so soft, nutty, and delicious. I could just snack on that with a loaf of bread and a little olive oil. Ooh, nothing like the flavor of roasted garlic. Roasted garlic is one of those things that's so easy to make. If you keep it in the fridge, you can pull it out and use it in soups, salad dressings, sauces, or just pop them in your mouth and eat them as a snack. Don't ask me how I know this. I've just heard that that's something you could do. Okay, that's the cheese mixture. Now for the fun part. I'm gonna stuff the bread. I've got a little piece of foil, and I'll put the bread on top. When this bakes, it is really, really messy, so I wanna give myself a fighting chance. Now I'm gonna stuff the cheese mixture in every single crevice of the bread. This is a side dish. I'm gonna serve it with soup, but you can make the pull-apart bread the main course if you want. I had a friend who did a buffalo chicken version. She just made buffalo chicken and tore it all up, stuffed it in the crevices with cheese and baked it. It was absolutely one of the most beautiful things I'd ever tasted. Okay, that's it for the cheese. Now, if you think this is crazy, just wait till you see the last thing I'm gonna add. Got a little saucepan of melted butter, and you guessed it, I'm gonna pour it all over the top of the bread. This will add moisture to the cheesy bread while it's baking, but it'll also add some gorgeous golden color to the surface. I think that's good. Now I'll wrap up this beautiful package, and I'll get it in the oven. It's gonna bake at 350 degrees for 25 minutes, covered, and then I'll peel back the foil and let it go for another 10. You will not believe how gorgeous it's gonna be. The last store-bought ingredient I'm gonna use is good old canned tomato soup. Simple and plain on its own, but when I get through doctoring it up, it's gonna be tomato soup 2.0. I'm starting just as I'd start any time I'd use tomato soup. Just pour the concentrate into a pan. So far, I'm following the rules. It's not gonna last very long. Okay, that's all the tomato soup out of the can. And then I'm gonna just add the water, the amount that the can's called for. Nothing to it so far. I'm gonna stir it all together. And while it heats up, let me show you some other soups that I've elevated through the years. It's one of my favorite tricks. I elevated vegetable soup with some store-bought tortellini, made everyday broccoli cheese soup special by serving it in hollowed-out bread, and a triumph of the elevating game was 7-can soup. I started with 1 can, then kept on going. I don't know about you, but I think those ideas are just super. Get it? Sorry. Okay, the soup's all heated up. So now I'm gonna doctor it up, and it is going to be so good. I'm gonna add some dry sherry. I think sherry and tomato soup just go together. Such a great combination. Another store-bought ingredient that I have in my pantry is a jar of pesto, and I'm gonna drop in a couple of great big spoonfuls. This is such a great way to inject that big basil flavor to soups or sauces. Maybe 3 spoonfuls will do. Okay, I'm gonna add some black pepper. I think black pepper is great in tomato soups. Okay, I'm gonna stir that all in. Ooh, I see that basil. Looks fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, I think tomato cream soup is one of the best things on earth. It's the prettiest color in the world. It's a cross between salmon and pink. I think what the cream does in tomato soup is it makes the acidity go away a little bit. It makes it a little bit more mild. And let's face it, it's cream. It makes everything more delicious. Okay, just a couple more things to add. I've got some chopped fresh tomatoes, which I think is a cool thing to stir into tomato soup. Then you get little chunks of tomato, and they're not canned tomatoes, they're fresh. And then I've got some grated parm. You don't want to add too much, just enough to add a little bit of that flavor. Okay, I'm gonna stir it just to make sure it's all mixed in. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yes, the bread. Talk about irresistible. This is the most inviting thing I've ever seen, except for this doctored up tomato soup, and I cannot wait another minute. I've got to serve this up. Sherry and tomato soup are the perfect combo. The flavor is amazing, nice and mild. I'm gonna add a few little things on top. A little sprinkle of parm. And a few more of the chopped tomatoes, just for decoration. And then I have some basil leaves. Just tear them into pieces and sprinkle them over. Gosh, I love this soup. And you would never know its origins are in a can. So funny when you think about it. And just to be extra fancy, I'm gonna drizzle a tiny bit of olive oil just on the surface.